But for me to go to LA, audition, and for this person to say that I have leading man qualities, and then for me to get in, I was like, yo, like, I'm going to LA.
Welcome to Why Not Me? I'm your host, Mike Jackson. I'm a partner at Get Lifted Film Co. And today, our guest is Quincy Isaiah. You probably know him from his portrayal as Magic Johnson on the HBO series Winning Time. I know him from that as well. But you know what else I know? He's a dope dude with a lot to talk about. I'm excited to share our conversation, and I hope you enjoy it on today's episode of Why Not Me? My guy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for dropping by the Why Not Me podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, you put me in a black van and hog-tied me, so I ain't had no choice.
Hey, by any means necessary, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's just the end result is what matters. No. How we got there is circumstantial.
No, I appreciate you having me, man.
I appreciate you too. Yeah. So let's jump in, bro. Muskegon, Michigan, September 10th, 1996. Tell me
95.
1995.
Yeah.
See, I was off by a year.
Yeah.
So tell me like about life in Muskegon. Tell me like when you came to Earth, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, just tell me what the dynamics were at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up to, my mom and dad both had previous marriages. Okay. So my mom had 3 kids, my dad had 3 kids.
Rolling Stones.
Right? And then from there, they got divorced, got together, and then they had me.
Okay.
I found out later that like literally like a couple months ago, my mom was living with her mom like a year before like she met my dad, and her and my dad bought a house before they got married. I know, right? It's crazy.
That's wild.
And then from there, they got married, and then a year later had me.
Okay.
So that was like the household that I was growing up in.
Are you the only child by them?
Yep.
And you're the baby?
Yep.
Are you the last one?
I'm the 7th child out of the family. So
how many children total?
7.
Okay, so you're 7th. You're the baby.
Yep.
How many sisters, brothers?
So 3 brothers, 3 sisters. My mom had two daughters and then a son, and my dad had a son, a daughter, and then a son.
Gotcha. So, all right, I have 3 kids. My daughter's the baby.
Yep.
She's very young, so it's still like yet to be determined. But what I've learned is the baby of the family is like kind of like the star.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
Everyone protects the baby. Tell me like growing up with 6 siblings as the baby.
Yep.
What was that journey like? And to the next part of that question is, I don't know when you discovered your talent for acting, but if you discovered it at a young age, were your family super supportive of that?
So I think it felt like a cheat code, honestly, because like my brothers and sisters, they all do so different things. Like I had a brother that went to the Army. I had a sister who graduated, and a brother that went to University of Michigan and got psychology degrees. I got a brother who's kind of like a gangster. So it's like a little bit all over the realm, and I was able to kind of like, I don't know, just kind of see how they went in like their lives and like just take here, take there, leave there, and like just really carve my own path. And I think that allowed me, because it wasn't much pressure on me to like do much. My mom, you know, she was like, yo, I remember the first thing I ever wanted to do was play basketball in the NBA. Right. And she was like, nah. So from there, I had to figure out, what do I want? What do I like? I like math. So like, I thought I was going to be a businessman or an engineer or like an architect or something. Right. And I kind of just took that route. But I remember going to a play with my mom and my granny about Helen Keller. It's called The Miracle Worker.
Of course, yeah.
And I saw it like at 7. And I remember just being like, dang, I wish I could do that. But I didn't have like the vocabulary to like really ask, I think, and like really be like, yo, I want to do this. So I think from there, it was just me kind of like trying a bunch of different stuff. Like I was in JROTC, band, I played football, I played basketball.
How old are you doing this whole stretch? Like what's the age range?
I want to say like from like 7 to like 15.
Okay, so you found acting, at least as a craft, something you admired from a younger age.
Yeah, at 7.
Okay.
I would say
before sports, before all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, basketball, I've been doing that forever. So it was like, it felt like basketball was probably the first thing I ever remember.
Okay.
And then, but it was like, I liked chemistry sets. Like, I liked
So you're kind of a nerd.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I got good grades and everything through school.
Right.
So I'm like, I just had a lot of interest. So I never could say like, oh, acting was like the thing that I was like, because even now I'm like, if things went south, I'm like, I just adapt. Yeah, I have a lot of interest that I could like, fall back on. So I would say it wasn't until college that I really, really was like, oh, this is like real,
The acting thing.
The acting thing.
However, you still played football. You played football in college, right?
Yep.
And you were an offensive lineman?
Yep.
You're like the smallest offensive lineman. Tell me how that, but were you larger then? Like, what's the fuck? I mean, you're like 9 pounds.
I was the biggest offensive lineman in high school in at least the first year of my college.
With
career.
what? Like, I'm looking at you, dude. You're like 210.
I'm about 220, 225 now. I used to be 290. At my
290?
Heaviest, I was like 310, 315. So I ended up getting, I hurt my hip. It was during my sophomore year.
Okay.
And like from sophomore year to my junior year, I was on crutches for like 9 months. And my weight went up to like 315 during that time.
Makes sense. You're not active. You can't do some shit, right?
Exactly. And I was already like 290. I've been a big kid my entire life. So like from there, it was like I started losing weight. And then once I got to college, I was like 290. And like, I knew I didn't want to continue to play football, which is why I went to a D3 school.
Right.
And
Kalamazoo
College.
Okay,
right. And I just started losing weight. So by the time I got to my junior year, I was probably like 255, 260.
Okay, that's decent weight.
Yeah.
And you were studying engineering at that point, right?
I was on the
switched,
business
right?
on the business path, cause like I was thinking about engineering going into school,
Right.
and then the way that they had it set up is like a 3-2 program. I didn't want to do 5 years of school.
I don't blame you.
So I was like, I'm gonna just do business. I couldn't get into my business courses that I needed because everybody in my class was a business major. So it was just hard to get in those classes, and I was able to take more. And I went to a liberal arts school. They encouraged you to like take classes outside.
How big was Kalamazoo?
I want to say like 1,200 to 1,500 students total.
All 4 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's real liberal arts college.
It was small.
We talked about sports a little bit, but there was a version of you at some point in life who actually wanted to be an NBA player, right?
Yes.
And your mom shut it down?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that conversation or that realization.
She was like, yo, like, you going to college. So, like, it doesn't, like, we're not doing that, is essentially what she was saying. It's like, because, in the hood, or I shouldn't say the hood, because I ain't grow up in the hood, but, like,
Midwest,
in black families,
small black town.
There's this idea of, like, it's either, like, you become an entertainer or you become a athlete. Yeah. And my mom was like, no, like, I want you to aspire for different things.
Now, I don't want to,
and I don't want to say bigger, but like different, right? And be a scholar. And from there, I think I heard her, at that young of an age, where I was like, okay, I do like chemistry sets. I do like math. Like, I love math. Like, math was like my shit.
Right.
Can I cuss?
You can fucking say whatever the fuck you want, bro.
Right. So, and like until I got into like calculus, that's when I was like, you know what, maybe math ain't.
Yeah, you lost me in calculus.
But like up until that point, like people used to like come to me and ask for help and stuff in math. So like I was good at that. But yeah, man, it was just like I just kind of knew that I liked. And at that age, you take like what is it, aptitude tests where you like try and figure out what job you could do, and like it was always like was it kinesthesiology?
Yeah.
And like physical stuff that I could do with my hands or math. Right. So
but nonetheless, you still pursued acting, right?
I know.
But at some point you moved to LA, right? And you go to American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Yep.
Tell me about that transition, the decision to move and do all that, and then what you got out of that experience.
Yep. So senior year, I'm in theater, like fully. I'm taking like every course is like essentially a theater class. Right. And then going into my spring quarter of my senior year, I was like, yo, I want to pursue this.
And give me a timeline. What year are we talking right now?
I graduated in 2017. So it's like, I want to say like May of 2017. No, March. It was March.
Okay.
Because I needed enough time to go. Yeah. So March of 2017, I ended up like I was scrolling on Instagram and American Academy of Dramatic Arts popped up and it was like audition here to get classes or whatever. And I clicked on it and it was like an easy process to like apply.
So you literally
Dog.
saw some shit on IG.
Yep. It was an ad.
Clicked on it.
Yep.
And ended up there.
Yep.
That got you to LA.
That got me an audition.
Right.
And they invited me to audition either LA or New York. I was like, LA.
Right.
And then from there, I came out to LA with one of my friends. She was going to USC law school. So she was like, yeah, I'll come out there with you. So we came out here. She went, did her thing. And then I went, saw a play, and then did my audition.
All the steps, yeah.
And I remember during the audition process, I had a monologue prepared. And the woman that I auditioned for, I remember her saying, you have leading man qualities. Mm-hmm. And for her to say that to me, then coming from Kalamazoo, it made me be like, yo, maybe I can really do this, because like back at home, like, if it's the bar isn't that high, right?
There's no barometer really.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like if you doing it, you probably are good, right? Like if you're
not, no one's telling you anyway.
Exactly.
So yeah.
But for me to go to LA audition and for this person to say that I have leading man qualities, and then for me to get in, I was like, yo, like I'm going to LA.
And that's all you needed?
That's all I needed.
That was your fuel?
It would, because it's like, I mean, I think I would have did it anyway, but like for that to happen at that time, I was like, I'm graduating, I'm leaving. So from there, I was working a job.
I was about to say you had a bunch of odd jobs, right? From like when you first got here and that experience before what we'll get to before the breakthrough shit. Like you had a lot of odd jobs, like, right? Like, so what were some of the shit that you did like to pay the bills that has literally nothing to do with acting? And this is important because I think hopefully people that are listening are going to respect the journey, which they will, but they have to understand that like nothing is handed to you and you got to do what you have to do to survive. So tell me about those odd jobs and the things you did.
So when I first moved out here, I didn't have a job. I kind of stayed with my friend for like a month, and I was just applying for jobs, looking for places to stay. I watched Game of Thrones. Like I hadn't seen Game of Thrones, and that's like when I first watched like all the Game of Thrones.
Right.
But like I was just looking for jobs, and then the first thing I got was like I got in with a temp company.
That's a great gig for an actor.
Yeah, and like I was able to do a bunch of different jobs, and some, I was an assistant to somebody that worked for like the planning department.
Wow.
I did data entry for like an insurance company where we was just like taking stuff from a spreadsheet and putting it, or taking stuff from paper and putting it into a spreadsheet.
System. Yeah.
And then I did. This was the worst job I've ever done. At Nordstrom's. I was like an inventory, like where we just scanned stuff to like
the stock.
Yeah, it was just like
monotonous, right?
Oh my god, and it was long, like and I was like, yo, this is the worst job that I've ever done. I drove DoorDash. Eventually I was able to get like a restaurant gig at Wahlburgers on USC campus. Shout out Wahlburgers. Yeah, shout out Mark.
If you want to be an actor, you might as well work for fucking Mark Wahlberg, right?
So I did that, and then eventually I was able to start bartending, and that was the job.
That's real money too.
Yeah, that was the one where I was like, all right, I can do this. And I was serving too, and on top of that, I had a second job with one of my. He's a friend now. He was I didn't really know him at the time, but he's a lawyer, and he's from Muskegon, Michigan. Okay. And my coach actually put me in contact with him, and him and his wife, who's also an actress, they didn't really need assistant, but they were like,
we like you.
We'll take, we'll look out for you. Yeah. So like, and
you need angels like that. You need a leg up sometimes.
Yeah, and just being able to be a part of what he was doing, because he was producing his shorts and like stuff like that, and being able to see the industry up close like that. And he would have me working on stuff, so I would PA here and there.
Did you ever act in any of the stuff? Or
nah, but he let me audition for one of them. Okay. I didn't get it, but like...
That's his bad now.
Well, and I'd be messing with him. I'm like, bro, so tell me, was it really like... He was like, no, I wanted you. It was the director. So I was like,
always the other guy.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I hear you. Yeah. But like... But that was like one of the best self tapes that I did at that point, where I was like in it, and I was
And
like,
now you're like a few months into LA or a year into LA.
this I would say about a year, a year maybe and some change, because I moved out here in August of 2017. All these jobs happened. I started working at Wahlburgers like March of 2018.
Okay.
So it was like a lot of different jobs by then. Once I started working at Wahlburgers, it was like March through like maybe like July. No, probably like August, September. And from August, September, that's when I started bartending. And from there, I was also working with him as an assistant.
Got it.
Doing stuff like that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I was working like as for a wedding planner too during that time.
All
like,
the jobs.
Dude, like whatever I could do to get money, I was hustling, man. So
which makes sense.
Yeah.
That's the journey. That's the grind of an actor.
Yeah.
So tell me about, you're doing your grind, you're doing your thing, whatever you got to do to create opportunity to pursue your dreams. But at some point, you get an agent.
Yep. So
how did you get an agent? What was the work that you did to procure that opportunity? Talk to me about that a little bit.
So before I even came out to LA, I was on Actors Access and looking for auditions and like stuff to do, right? And on Actors Access, and that's when I started booking stuff. Like, so as soon as I got out here, I was doing short films, student films, and like creating, material for me to create a reel.
Right.
And from there, I want to say, I can't remember when, but I created a reel, and Actors Access has this thing called Talent Link, where you can put your portfolio and your resume in front of like all these agents and managers.
Okay, like a showcase online.
Yep, and then they reach out to Actors Access and say, hey, we want to meet with this person. And then Actors Access reach out to me like, hey, they want to meet with you.
Right.
Here's their information.
Right.
And then you go back and forth and find a time
Literally
to
like
meet up.
that.
Yep, and I actually did that like a few times and had a few different agents before finally meeting up with one that I was like, Are you
still with that agent?
I was up until 2020, 2021. She transitioned to my manager.
Okay, so she's still in your life.
Well, she was.
Okay.
I mean, we keep up now, but like she's not on my team.
This dude got a show, so
what?
Shit got different after he got his show.
Look, no, I tried to keep her on, but it just didn't make sense. And like at the end of the day, it's a business, right? So it's like figuring out what works.
So tell me, that's 18, 19?
2018 is when I booked with her, like when I signed with her. And then I was with her for probably like 8 months before and I was getting auditions. I had a couple of callbacks, but nothing that I booked until the fateful day in May of 2019.
When I got winning time?
When I got winning time.
So fuck, bro. You played Magic.
Yes, sir.
Johnson. So tell me, like, before you even got the gig, you were auditioning to play Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
You're a former athlete. Like, you're from Michigan. Like, he's got it where Magic is from. So it's got to be like this crazy, like, opportunity, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, tell me about the thought process going to the auditions and wanting this part so bad and knowing, like, this is my role.
Yeah.
Not only because I have the ability to portray Magic, but he's me. Like, he's from Michigan. This is my guy. Like, just tell me about the pursuit of that opportunity and what it felt like when you landed it.
So this is May 2019 when I booked it, right? I want to say in like January 2019, I was thinking about going to the military because like I had been doing stuff. Like I've been auditioning and like I hadn't booked a role that actually paid me any money. So people were telling me like, you're good, but like, and I wasn't booking anything. So I felt like maybe I needed time to cook longer and like get older and like age into some better roles, right?
Right.
But for me, I stuck around. And so what I wanted to get to is like during the audition process for Magic,
Which is like 5-6 weeks long, 7 weeks, like a crazy audition process, right? Yeah.
Around there. I went into the audition. I was kind of like, I didn't even know what it was for. Like, I was just kind of auditioning. I saw that it was Magic. When I was like, one of the callbacks that I had was like LeBron in a commercial. So I was like, is it really LeBron? It's not really LeBron.
So am I being presumptuous in thinking what I said before? Like that you knew Magic and it was like you were hype and like Or was he just kind of like some old dude who's from Michigan? Like,
I mean,
was there
I
a
knew
passion
who he
for it?
was, but
Yeah.
like it wasn't like reading it on paper. It didn't register.
Okay,
I think
that's
so.
fair.
For me, I got the audition like on a Wednesday. I looked at it. I was like, all right, cool. I got an audition on Friday. Cool, whatever. I woke up Friday and I looked at it again and I was like, oh, it's some sides in here. So I had to like go print the sides out because I didn't realize that they were there.
Right.
And I just brought them to the audition with me and read off the paper. Because like I was just like, at that point I had auditioned so many times and I was just like,
Dude,
I know.
like it's magic. It's like what are we talking about?
I didn't see none of that on that paper until I want to say I went in, did it, didn't think nothing of it, left.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, I'm back in Michigan, in Detroit, celebrating my cousin's 25th birthday. And I get an email directly from my agent,
Right.
which usually doesn't happen. It usually goes through Actors Access, and then that's how I know I got an audition or whatever.
Right.
She
This
was
is
like,
serious though.
She was like, yo, you got a call back for this. And I look at it, and I'm like, HBO, Magic Johnson, wait. And then I saw Adam McKay, and I'm like, wait a sec, what is this? Like,
You didn't remember doing it.
bro, like, I did, but like, it was just like, again, I had done a commercial that was supposed to be LeBron, but it didn't register that this was like an actual role to play this person in this TV show.
Yeah, it's almost like self-preservation, right? Like you're told no so much, you just kind of figure out a process to go through the process without it being so super personal.
Yeah,
right?
because I think
get it,
as an actor, I feel like when you're doing auditions, you leave a piece of yourself inside that.
No doubt.
Like with that, like you don't want to hype yourself up too much because it's like, like then you sitting there thinking about it, you got to let it go a little bit. So I think for me, once I saw that, I was like, oh. And then that's when, I read the book that it was based on. I did, I watched a whole bunch of his videos, his interviews, like tried to get his talking pattern down. And like from there, I was like, yo, I'm about to be prepared as I possibly can be coming into this callback. And that's when Adam McKay, Kevin Messick, Jim Heck, Max Bourne, Francine Mays, all these people are sitting in the room, Stacy, where I'm able to like, I'm seeing them and like, it's almost daunting, right? But like for them, like I remember Adam, like we just started talking about my college. He's from Philly too.
He's from Philly?
Yeah.
Adam McKay?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm sure you're right.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that. That's dope. I might have to call him.
He went to school in Chicago and he used to come up to Kalamazoo for like the improv group that was there. And like, but I just remember him talking about that and it just made me feel like at ease. And like, they say, the people in the room are rooting for you. And I felt it that day, and like I went through the process, like the audition process or the callback, and people were laughing and like, it was just very warm in that room.
Right.
And it made me feel like, yo, like regardless of what happens, I had a great callback in front of these people. I made fans.
You belong there.
Yeah.
You're an actor now.
Yeah. So that made me feel good.
Right.
And then I want to say like a week and a half later, I get a call saying like, hey, they want, you to do a basketball thing with Rick Fox. And from there, we went to Pan Pacific Park. And then an hour, he put me through a brutal workout. And then the second hour, like some of the producers came in, like taped it. And then I guess they sent it to HBO. We finished up an hour later. Francine Maisler and Adam McKay was on the phone telling me I got the part.
That's a crazy moment, right?
Dude, I remember it like vividly, like, cause I'm on the phone, they call me, and I'm like, hey, Quincy, is Francine and Adam just wanted to tell you, we want you to play, the role of Magic. I remember muting it, screaming, going hard, unmuting it, being like, thank y'all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
Yep, I'm excited to get to work, And from there, hung up, screamed some more, called my mom. Told her about it. She had a little Pomeranian dog at the moment. She's screaming, running around, the dog running around her. And then just calling my peoples, man, and just having so much love being poured into me that day, bro. And I just remember just like feeling like light and like just like, yo, I did it, accomplished in a way, but also being like determined, like, all right, now I got to show the fuck up.
That's what I was about to say. Once the excitement of of the victory with moms and family and the homies and all that, like, then you had that quiet moment and you're like, fuck, yo, like, I actually have to do this shit.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to ever talk to Magic?
No.
Ever?
Nope.
You've
I
never
still
talked
haven't
to him?
to this day talked to him.
Have you heard anything about what he thinks?
I mean, people tell me here and there, but I'm like, if it ain't coming from him, I'm like,
Right.
I don't put much stock in it.
I wonder, do you know why you haven't talked to him?
I mean, my guess, this is purely based off speculation, because, you know, I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a show that he didn't have a part of, and he didn't get a say on how he was portrayed, right?
Fair.
So for him to, like, for us, I guess for him to, like, talk to me about it, it feels like that might be like a sign off on it or something.
Which he wasn't afforded the opportunity, for whatever the reasons,
Right.
like a lot of people,
Right.
to sign off.
Right.
So you feel like, well, then that's why he's not fucking with me. No, it's not personal. It's just
Business. Like, he's a businessman. So
we know
I'm
this.
like,
Yeah, we know this.
you know?
Yeah. So you did 2 seasons, right? 2 seasons in the can.
Yep.
Both are out, right?
Yep.
And that's it's a wrap on that, right?
Yep.
So you're an actor.
Yeah, man.
You're just trying to figure out the next gig right now. So
Yeah.
tell me about, I know you have a movie coming up. Just tell me about, like, not necessarily that film if you want to talk about it, but just tell me about, like, the feeling, like, you have this instant hit show.
Yeah.
You're playing an icon. Everyone knows your face. Everyone all of a sudden knows your name.
Yeah.
And then it's done.
Yeah.
This is the life of an actor. Tell me about your journey post Winning Time as you're just kind of like navigating that space of an actor and pursuing your dreams.
Yeah. So I think, I feel like we all kind of thought that Winning Time would be a bigger show than what it was, right? So, like, I think between season 1 and season 2, I was able to kind of adjust my expectations a little bit.
Right.
Because I was in a space of, like, where I'm getting these cool projects that I can, like, read and look at, but I also, 1, they weren't getting made, or 2, I was losing out to other actors that's been doing it longer,
Right.
and, like, that are great, you know? So I'm like,
yeah.
it was like this weird space to be in, because it's like I'm, for lack of a better term, I'm too big for these roles and too small for these roles, right?
Right.
So I think for me, it was just about patience and, like, allowing the right roles to come to me. And one of the roles that came was, like, this small indie that I knew from a producer that I knew, who I went to school with. He was, like, a couple years behind me. We didn't really know each other in college, but, like, just the connection, I was like, yeah, come on, like, let's have lunch.
Same shit. Same,
Yeah, and he told me about the script, so I ended up doing a small indie last year, which we got into a festival this year, and we're still in the process of selling it.
Okay.
I was able to become an EP on it as well.
Okay.
So that helped me understand, like, how the filmmaking process goes.
Right.
And then from fast forward to this year, I was able to kind of essentially book my first role since Winning Time, like, first big role through CAA, where I'm now able to play a military operative on, like, a top mission.
With Zach Levi.
Yep, Zach Levi and Liam Neeson.
My Austin brethren. Zach
Yeah,
Levi.
so I'm like, from there, I'm just, you know, trying to be smart and strategic about how I choose my roles and how, and, you know, just, like, what I put my stock into and what I'm, like, actively pursuing, because I also want to do producing,
Right.
or I am doing producing.
Right.
I don't want to. I'm doing it.
Right.
And, like, I have some other films that's, like, one that's potentially greenlit, like, to go right after Hotel Tehran is the movie with Zach Levi.
Zach,
and Liam
right,
Neeson.
yeah.
So when I come back from shooting that, hopefully I'm shooting a film that I'm also producing, and it should be shooting at my college, actually, in Kalamazoo.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So obviously producing is one of your first big Why Not Me moments, and you're doing it early in your acting career, which is really cool.
Yep.
I think we talked a little bit about, the last time we chatted, about there is a desire at some point to be a director.
Yeah.
And we understand there's steps to this shit. Like,
Yeah.
but is that, like, down the road, like, far down the road, or is that something you really are focused on in the near future? And tell me, like, what your thought process is around that.
Like, I think it used to be something where I was like, especially on Winning Time, I thought we was gonna have, like, at least, like, 4 or 5 seasons.
Right.
And I thought that I would get an opportunity on that show to direct.
Which makes sense.
You know?
Sally Richardson was just crushing it so badly as a director though, because she's so awesome.
And just sidebar, Sally is the shit.
She's the shit.
Like she is no nonsense, but at the same time will love you up as much as you need it, and then kick you in the ass and be like, go out there. You know what I mean?
I love Sally Richardson.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I can't say enough good things about her.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
But I essentially that was the plan, and I think that kind of pushed the dates back a little bit because I was, I've been working on a short film that I wanted to direct, but like honestly, at this point, I'm like, with the producing arm and the acting arm, I'm like, the itch is going away a little bit, but I'm like, for the right project, I think where I'm like, I have to direct this. I feel like that's what would encourage me to direct.
Got you. Because, and I think acting, writing, directing, producing, like they're all synonymous at certain points in time. Like there's ways to kind of lean into all those different verticals depending on what makes the most sense. So I think that producing and acting right now is your thing. Directing is down the road. Like there's a lot. Writing maybe it's another thing you decide to pursue at some point.
I've been working on some scripts here and there with writing. And I think with writing, I'm better at like story and like help and working with a writer to like develop and create a story as opposed to right. And I don't know. I might not be giving myself enough credit, but I think right now that's more the way that I'm pursuing it.
Got it.
So.
It's interesting. There was an interview that I kind of read about you, and I think I'll get into it. But I think as people of color, men of color, we often shy away from mental health and things of that nature. I think as a culture, we're leaning into it much more than ever before, which is incredible and hugely necessary. But tell me about your experience, because I read like prior to Winning Time, you did some work on yourself and worked with a therapist. And this isn't something we normally talk about on Why Not Me, but I think it's important as a Black man who's aspiring for greatness, who's dealing with life and pressure, which is applicable to anyone, Black, white, whatever, in this life. Tell me how therapy worked for you in preparation for Winning Time, and then how it worked for you beyond Winning Time.
Yeah. So I think even when what we were just talking about, where we thought Winning Time was going to be this big, huge show, right?
Right.
And I mean, granted,
it
was.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. Like, people still stop me in the street. Like, people know about the show and know me.
Yeah.
I wanted to be prepared for that because I'm low key. I'm a chill dude. I just don't. I don't like to draw too much attention to myself, but I'm an actor, so like I appreciate it too. So it's like this weird dichotomy of like trying to understand how to be and how to feel that out. And I think for me, therapy was huge for me because it was like I wanted to make sure before I got tossed into the lion's den of Hollywood that I knew who I was, what I wanted to do, and just had a deeper understanding of like myself, because I think when there's a bunch of cameras and lights and like attention and people want to know all these things about you, if you aren't solid in yourself and your understanding of yourself, you can get pulled and pushed into so many different directions. And I'm just like, I wanted to make sure if nothing else, I knew what I was here for. I knew what I was trying to get out of this. And I knew what my boundaries were, right? And I think therapy helped me with that and more, where I'm like, talking about relationships and talking about friendships and like relationships, not just romantic relationships, but like relationships with like familiar relationships and like old traumas and like why I do the things that I'm doing. And like the more structured and like boundaries I was able to set in my personal life, the better I was able to handle those situations in my work life, as they came up. And just like stuff I hadn't seen before. Like I was the lead of a $100 million production.
It's huge,
with
bro.
like all these different actors that I've watched grow up, like while I was growing up. And there's a imposter syndrome there that comes with
1,000%.
And during that process, why not me, right? Why they chose me here for a reason. I put myself in a position to do this role, and at risk of sounding like not cocky or arrogant, but like they needed me, just as much as I needed them, right? So I think
the guy.
it was a hand in glove fit, and I think that helped me get over my imposter syndrome of like, why am I here? No, because you can do the job, you know.
Right.
And I think seeing season 1 definitely helped that too, you know.
Right.
And just working with who I was working with, they kept pouring back into me and like, nah, like you got this, like so. Yeah, therapy. I'm a big proponent for therapy.
And it's something you continue to do.
I'm an advocate.
You continue to do it. It's something that just continuously serves you in your life and your journey and all that. So I
got a session on Tuesday.
I commend you for that. I think it's absolutely 100% necessary. I think we get lost in the sauce of like, we're black men, we're strong, we're masculine. We have to carry this burden of like the plight of what it's like to be black in America, which we do.
Yeah.
And that shit is real.
Yeah.
But I think therapy is a great kind of balancing act, right? To kind of figure your shit out and understand the psychology of the journey. So I think that's great.
And I mean, I think it makes me a better actor, right? Where I can show up and have access to all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what acting is, right? Acting, a big part of acting is to be able to pull from moments and journeys and experiences and like psychologically and be able to like articulate those emotions and feelings for an audience, right?
100%.
So to be able to decipher those things, it just makes sense that it will be an incredible tool in the tool belt of acting.
Yep.
So yeah, for you it's multifaceted because you're not just serving yourself as a human, but you're serving your craft.
Exactly.
And I think that's fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked you haven't talked to Magic, by the way, but that's a whole other thing for whatever. So perfect case scenario. We've talked about writing, we've talked about producing, directing, all those things, but like, is there a perfect scenario for you moving forward? Like a dream scenario for you right now where you're at? And I know that can continuously evolve, but is there a thing right now in your brain or like that you're looking forward that you're like, this, if I could do this, that would be, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think for me, perfect scenario is like indie film, studio film, and I'm producing the indies. I don't need to produce the studios.
Right.
And then I have a TV show that's like 10 episodes that I get to go shoot for like 3-4 months.
Right.
That I'm, also a producer on, but like where I can just go play and fuck around with my friends, you know, and like make comedy. Cause I love comedy.
Comedy's great. Have you ever thought about stand-up?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried it?
Not yet.
What's the deal? I see you smiling. What's the deal? You gonna get up there? You gonna be like the motherfucker with your back to the stage, like not looking at the audience? Look, you ready to embrace them and just fucking go try to get it?
Stand up is like, that's it. The medium is so daring, right? And that's what I love about theater.
Theater's the hardest shit ever.
Right. But like comedy is that and some, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like you're expecting them to laugh, or if they don't laugh, now you got to pivot. Like with theater, it's a script. Like I stick to the script.
Yeah.
Comedy, it's like you got to play off what's in front of you, and like it's a game of tennis with like a bunch of people you don't know, and you don't know how they gonna go. So like, stand up has always been like this monster, but like I'm like I want to conquer it because that's a part of performing, right?
Sure.
And I just love comedy, man. I love jokes. I love making people laugh and like the wittiness of it all, you know. So
you gotta come meet me in Austin and go to Mothership, Joe Rogan's club. It's like the comedy scene there is it's fucking nuts. I wonder, I'm at like as you attempt comedy, after achieving success in this other thing, like inevitably comics fail in some version of like their set, right?
Yeah.
Until they get to where they need to get through repetition. Comedy not being your first thing, stand up, but it's a part of the arsenal. What did it feel like to fail? And you didn't even say you failed. I don't want to presume that you did fail, but I mean, I use the term failing as far as like a joke not landing, or that one moment of awkward silence. You know what I mean? Like, what's that like when you're out there on stage to miss?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Jordan thing. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? And I think I don't look at it as failing. Like, it's just learning a lesson, like learning how not to do something.
Right.
If I want to succeed, I know not to do it that way. So I'm going to try it again until I succeed. So like, that I think that's the beauty about stand-up. It's like, if a joke don't land, I'm going to tweak it.
Right.
If it don't land again, I'm gonna keep tweaking it until like it does land, and where it's undeniably funny, depending on which room I go in. That's why I think like the greats are great, is because no matter what room I'm in, I can make somebody laugh in here, right? Or make them feel something. I think it was Patrice O'Neal that said like half of the people is gonna laugh and the other half is like, is that okay? Like, what,
fucking genius, Patrice O'Neal, man.
So I'm
Rest
like,
in peace.
I think that's part. Yeah, R.I.P.
R.I.P.
I think that's part of it, right? Where it's like fine tuning and like getting better. Cause
Well,
like,
that's comedy.
Yeah.
I remember at one point when Chris Rock was hosting, he was going to host the Oscars, and I had the great fortune of being around him at that time, and literally like driving with him to a couple different spots as he worked his set in preparation for that. And I always think that's fascinating with comedy, to see like whether it's someone who's just starting out or it's Chris fucking Rock. Like, it's still a process. There's still like a skill that you have to, a muscle you have to flex.
Yeah.
And I just think that's super cool. And I wonder, again, with you, like you kind of touched on it, but it's like to flex and fail and pick yourself up again is a part of the process.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, as you think about your future and other endeavors that you're looking forward to doing, I'm assuming that same muscle is applicable, right? Like, we're in a business of losses, right? Like, the entertainment business is a business of losses. So ultimately, it's about how do you respond to the L and how do you pick yourself up? Is there like a mantra that you live by, or something that you repeat in your head, like, or just whatever, like a saying when you're like, when you get knocked down, is there a motivating thing that you tell yourself to get back up?
I mean, I don't know if it applies to this, but like how you do something is how you do everything, right? So I'm like, regardless of if it's a win or a loss, if I'm approaching it with the same mentality that I did when I was working Wahlburgers cleaning toilets,
right?
Like, and I show up on set with the same, like, I'm here to do a job and I'm gonna do it to my best ability, I can walk away feeling good about myself.
Okay, you left it all in the field.
I left it there. You know, I did what I could, you know, and I'm gonna learn from it and continue to just get better. Cause like, what else can we do? We humans, like, and that's part of it. Like, just, and it's something that I just heard, like, I wanna say like a few weeks ago. Or maybe I've heard it before, but like it stuck in my head a few weeks ago. Burn the boats.
Burn the boat?
Burn the boat. Like, the boat that we came in on, like, into war, burn it. Now it's the only way through is through. We can't leave. We can't evacuate.
Right.
Burn the boats.
That's interesting.
We going.
I like that.
You
Burn the boat.
Yeah, man. Because, like, ain't no turning around. Like, adapt, you know? And I think that's one of my biggest skills, I think, is my flexibility and my ability to adapt to the situation. So I'm like, learn and just get better, man.
I think that's huge. So I know we're here in LA having this conversation right now, but you're New York based.
Yeah.
I love New York. We got to hang in New York a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Tell me about the acting gig in New York as you're still pursuing these major roles. Like, so, like, just to educate other actors, like, is it a tougher grind from New York, or do you feel at peace in New York with the pursuit of your dream? Like, just tell me what that's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, like, I don't think I'm approaching it from a different space, right? So if I would have been able to see both before I got Winning Time, like New York versus LA scene, I think I would have better context behind it. But like with New York, the big thing about me transitioning there was like so I can watch more theater and just like and kind of be outside the industry a little bit more, right? Or not necessarily be outside of it, but be exposed to different industries, right?
Sure.
And I think that helps me personally in my life and what I want to do. And like, because it can, it feels like in LA, it can be a little saturated in terms of like everywhere you turn, somebody's in the industry, right?
Literally.
And I think that the lack of a break from thinking with that type of brain isn't helpful to the work that we do. Because we're playing real people. We're playing an artist. We're playing a finance guy, or whoever. And I think being able to see those people in real life, in real time, act out in however they act is helpful for me, and it's just more mix and mingle in New York than it is in LA.
Right. Again, it's all part of the tool belt, right?
Yeah,
it's all
man.
about acquiring those skills and doing what you have to do.
Yeah, I'm an observer of people, man. I just love like watching people and like how the psychology of people and like how different situations make people act in certain, like like seeing somebody yell at like a person driving when they was in the wrong, and it's like, bro, but like I can't imagine what's actually making you yell. Like what
I can tell you, because I'm the person who yells sometimes when I shouldn't be fucking yelling, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just pure ego and the unwillingness to be like, I shouldn't have probably merged right there.
Fair.
That's actually my bad.
Fair.
But it's human nature.
Yes.
So you're new still kind of to the grind, definitely new to like the light.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing you might have some funny Hollywood stories. Do you have a favorite Hollywood story?
A favorite Hollywood story?
Yeah.
I'm like, what would constitute as a Hollywood story?
A Hollywood story is running into, an actor you respect, or like getting a hit TV show and like some John is now like, it could be anything. Seeing your crush and like actually having the opportunity to talk to them, like, or it can be anything.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and I don't know why this is popping up in my head, but I'm gonna just say it. So I was working out, like for season 1, they had us working out with like a trainer, like a celebrity trainer.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember walking in one day and seeing like Pusha T one day, and like I like Pusha T, but I wouldn't have thought that I would be starstruck. Right. I was just like, yo, that's Pusha T.
Pusha T's doing
like,
push-ups
like,
right there.
Exactly. And
he's a human just like us.
Yo.
Yeah.
And I just didn't expect it. So I think that's why I was like, that was the last person I would have thought to see in this gym.
Right.
And then like a couple days later, I saw like Ariana Grande. And I was just like, where am I? Like, it was like a where am I type
You're
of
in
thing.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Shit is different.
I'll say this. When I went to All-Star Weekend, that was the most bizarre thing. Because, like, I'm a Shaq fan through and through.
I was about to literally reference Shaq because he's so fucking big.
Dude.
Did you get close to him?
Dude. So I'm getting ready to go use the bathroom. Like, I'm watching the game.
Right.
And I turn around, and as I'm walking to, like, on the court, you get to walk, you got to go through, like, security and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking out, Shaq is coming through the tunnel.
Nice flex, by the way.
I know, right?
All right,
Of course not. Whatever.
Right.
But like Shaq is walking up, and I see him, and I'm just like looking at him, and then like he's talking to somebody. He looks up, sees me, and then takes a double take. It's like, and he pointed at me, and I was like,
"Oh shit,
bro!" Like for Shaq to point me out and like see me, I was like, "Yo, bro! Like what?
I've arrived."
What reality have I entered that?
It's your reality.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's
man.
dope, though.
And like, I'm Dominique, Steph, Brandon Jennings, like everybody, like Gary Payton, Chris Tucker. I met Chris Tucker that day.
Right. So to answer the question, you're saying your favorite Hollywood story is access and exposure to your heroes in a way.
100%. Okay. 100%.
Okay.
And to see that they know me. You know what I mean?
Like motherfucking magic, dude. Just because you didn't fucking know whatever, like, that was fucking magic.
I like that. Yeah, man.
That's fucking awesome.
And for them to tell me, like, because Kenny Smith, he was on a flight with me. I'm name dropping this stuff.
Drop him, bro.
But, like, we was on a flight, and I ended up sitting behind him on the way back to L.A. from All-Star Weekend. And, like, he turned around and he looked at me. He was like, hey, I thought you was Magic for us. Like, he was like, no, like, the way you played it, like, when I saw you playing during the game, I had to, like, change.
Double take, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, for somebody that played with him and that was that close up to him, tell me that, like, yo, you did your thing. That's, like, all the validation in the world, man.
The perfect cosign, right?
Yeah, man.
Are you getting famous now? People know a little something, like you're out in these streets a little bit. Like, what's like your favorite pickup line to either use that you've used in the past or that was used on you?
Ooh.
And don't fucking hold back.
Yeah. I'm like, so it's funny. One of my friends used this pickup line where like, and it's, on social media, right, where they'll send a dog like emoji and then be like, sorry, my dog got loose, but what's up? And somebody used that on me, and I was like,
Did it work?
nah.
Nah.
But like I responded.
Right.
You know, I was like, I appreciate the effort. You know what I mean? Like, that was good. I like that, you know.
It's kind of wild. Like, I'm an old dude now. I'm married with 3 kids.
Yeah.
I'm not in the scene, but it's always funny to me, like, the whole, like, kind of meet and greet on social media through the apps or the whatever, the Tinder, I don't know what they're called, like Grindr or whatever, where you meet people in real life, like, because they're like a quarter mile away from you.
Yeah.
Like, as a single dude in the streets with, like, this, like, rising level of fame, like, is it odd to date?
I mean, yes and no, because it's always this thing in the back of my head is like, are you with me for me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And especially coming from being overweight as a kid, I think, or as a young adult, I think a big part, you know, I'm very insecure about like my body and like, you know, just life in general, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I think a big part of me is like sussing out if this person is actually likes me.
Right.
And I think for me, it's just a game, right? And I think that's why I'm still single, is because I'm still working through that type of stuff in therapy as well, right? Where I'm trying to be like, no, like you're not that person anymore. You have value, like other than all this stuff. Like there's a good person under there, and like people can see that, and it's not always blinded by
the other thing.
Yeah.
I think that's hugely important. I do relate though. I lost like a bunch of weight too over the last few years, and I think there's like there's a psychology when you're going through that process, when you end the process and you get to this like desired weight or whatever, and like people are shouting you out or saying you look great, blah 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 blah. But there's still this part of your brain that's still the big guy.
Yeah.
Like you can't just divorce yourself from that right away.
Yeah.
Like you kind of obviously just touched on it a little bit. Is that like for you like an everyday battle still, or have you kind of leaned into like the comfort zone of the new body? Like,
nah, man, I'm still dealing with that. Like where I'm like, but like if I was 100+ pounds, would you want me like? And like probably not. Like,
well, you wouldn't be playing Magic.
Yeah, right. But like also like that wouldn't.
But that doesn't define you either.
But it also is like a thing of like, yo, if I am 100+ pounds, why? Like, what is going on mentally with me?
Right.
Like, you know, and not to say that people that's bigger, like some people just, that's not their path, right?
But for you.
But for me and what I want to do, if I was 100 pounds, you would be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Like,
what's the fucking situation?
Exactly.
Right
so I think for me, I've started to understand like, and I like fit people. Like, you know, like,
bro.
I'm open to like, you know, other people, but like at the same time, it's like there is an attraction there. So it's like I can't knock somebody for the same thing that I'm doing. Right?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Has there ever been any crazy rumors spread about you?
Not that I know of.
Right.
Like I'm very I keep blinders on, man. Like early on I would look at Twitter and like all this stuff, but like now, man, I'm just like, as long as I'm locked in with my family and we can talk, my friends, and like my coworkers, my colleagues, I give a fuck.
Right, everything else is just noise, right?
Yeah.
Again, I know you're like still kind of in the early stages of the career, but I'm wondering, do you have a favorite co-star at this point that you've worked with, someone who's inspired you or you've gleaned some kind of thing from?
I mean, that's tough.
Fuck feelings, just name a motherfucker, man.
I know. I mean, like Rob Morgan was a big one. Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah. Jason Clarke, obviously John C.
I did a movie with Jason Clarke back in the day.
Yeah. Which one?
It was called Human, and no one saw it. It was called Human Contract, but it was a dope little movie. Jada Pinkett Smith wrote it and directed it. Okay. But yeah, he's dope.
Yeah, man. I like Adrian, Tamara Tomakili, Rachel Hilson. Like, I got to make sure I shout out my, you know.
That was not the question.
What?
One.
I know.
Favorite co-star. Like, do we have one? Is it Rob Morgan? Like, you can say Rob. Like, what's the deal?
If I had to choose, gun to my head, it might be Solomon Hughes. Okay. He played Kareem.
Yeah.
And the reason why I choose Solomon is because not only the scenes that we were able to do, but also I think just how much we've intermingled with like our families and like
I got personal.
Yeah, and it feels like we were in it together, like the show as well as like coming into the industry the same way with the same kind of level of like expectations / like just not understanding a lot, you know? So I think for me, coming in it with him and like still having a relationship to this day, I would probably choose Solomon.
I got it. And he was great as Kareem. It was like...
And just his brain, like he's a doctor, you know? Like,
literally? He's a doctor?
100%. Doctor of education.
Oh,
and
wow.
like he's a professor. So like just him and like his brain, like the way he thinks, I think that made me be like on set and off set, I really like appreciate that friendship that I have with him.
I think that's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Are you a music guy?
I love music.
Do you have like, are you a playlist guy? Or are you an album guy?
Playlist.
And what's on your playlist currently?
It's crazy. I kind of listen to a lot of like different, like I have my workout playlist, which is mostly hip hop, and then I have like my easy hits playlist, which is like anywhere from like R&B, like Beyonce to like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran.
You're a Swiftie?
I've became one a little bit. Like I've always liked the music, but I wouldn't put it in my playlist. Now I didn't put like some hits. I'm like, I was listening to Bad Blood this morning. I was like getting ready for the podcast. You know?
I gotta tell you, I ended up watching this documentary on Harry Styles, and I was like, yo, he's dope. And then like every time they played a Harry Styles song in the doc, I was like, I know that, I know that, I know that.
Right.
And now like I literally can't stop listening to Harry Styles, so like I can't clown you for Taylor.
You know,
sometimes people are popular for a reason.
Say it again.
Sometimes people are popular for a reason.
Yes, 100%.
They've actually got talent.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So you could fall, I don't want to say victim, but you could fall in line with talent. So I think Taylor is fine.
But also shout out Jeezy, because like I think Jeezy might be one of my favorite rappers, like top 5 for me, because like longevity wise, I was watching his versus him and Gucci, and I was like, I was rediscovering old bangers. So I've been in the Jeezy space right now. Like when I leave here, I'm probably gonna bang Jeezy.
I tell you something that crazy that happened to me last night. I ended up at one of my favorite places in LA. It's called Chateau Marmont. Mm-hmm. And
it's called Chateau Marmont. Just throwing that out there.
Kanye was there.
Okay.
And he had a listening party.
He had a listening party?
It wasn't an official listening party. He was just at Chateau, and he was DJing, and he was playing his new music.
What, like from
his new album? I don't
Down
know.
to 2 or like
what's that?
Because Vultures.
No.
That was the last
unreleased
one.
music.
Unreleased.
It's shit he's working on currently that we haven't heard yet. He was just like playing it for the room, letting people hear what he was doing.
That's crazy.
And it was like fucking motherfucking Kanye.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I've met him a ton before. He worked with John, my producing partner, was in a deal with him forever. So Kanye was not new to me.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a reminder of like, despite everything that's going on in his universe, like he is a musical genius.
That's
like,
his craft.
His shit is fucking nuts.
Yes.
And no matter what they want to say about him, like this motherfucker can fucking...
A Kanye song gonna get played on the way back home too.
Yeah, he can do the thing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite curse word? And use it in a sentence.
It's hard because like motherfucker is like just such a great curse word, right?
Motherfucker.
Get my motherfucker, come on. You know, like, and then, you know, Bernie got his whole,
Bernie's got that shit.
Bit, you know, about motherfucking ass. You know? So I'm just like, it's hard not to say motherfucker, but like, some of them a bitch.
Some of them a bitch.
Yo, like, I don't know. But anyway.
That's another conversation.
Yeah. But I think, it's probably
motherfucker.
Fuck. It's fuck.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm in this weird spot now. I have such young kids and I have such a foul mouth that like I've entered the phase over the last 2 weeks of like $1 for every curse word. Mm-hmm. My kids are like 25 right now.
Oh,
like, I owe them some bread right now.
I'm like, no, I'm just going to pay for it at that point.
I'd rather say fuck with authority and give up a buck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love this question. If you could be alive in any time period, what time period do you think what time period would it be? Mm-hmm. And how old would you be in that
Other than the moment.
Correct.
All right.
It could be this moment, but
I mean, because, like, honestly, bro, I'm living the fucking life. I'm like, I love my life. Like,
so present day Q right now.
Yeah, man. Like, with everything we got going on, like, I'm just like, there's no other time like the present, man. Like, and like, granted, sure. Because, like, I could say, like, the 80s, but also I could say, like, fucking, like, the 1400s before, like, slavery and see what that shit
as long
was
as
like.
it's before, shit. You don't want to be around, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you know, and, like, see, like, a Mansa Musa and, like, what he was doing over in Africa, Mali. And, like, see, like, how that world and that, or, you know, Europe or, like, Japan, like, all these or Christ, you know, like, all that stuff. But I'm like, yo, other than that, like, I know this moment and, like, I'm actually living the life that I want to be living. So I'm like, right now is perfect.
I think that's great. So one last question. As you're on your journey, you're doing all your stuff and in the evolution of you, 18-year-old kid comes up to you tomorrow on the street and he's like, yo, Quincy, what do I got to do to win in this hustle of entertainment? Like, what's your advice to someone who's trying to make it in entertainment?
I mean, it's tough, man. Because I think what I want to say is, like, be you, focus on what you actually want to do, and don't choose this because you think you have to or because somebody told you should. Do it because you actually want to do it, right?
Right.
That's part of me. The other part is, like, bro, it don't matter, bro. Like, just, yes, like, live, bro. Like, fuck all this shit, bro. Like, go do something. Like, whatever it is that's in your body that you feel like you have to get out and do, go do that thing. Like, because otherwise you I don't know, but it seemed like people have regrets, right? And I just really, really want to end my life looking back like, damn, I did everything that I wanted to do. I didn't let nobody deter me from doing a thing. I pivoted when I felt like I needed to. So I would just tell that kid, like, yo, like, trust yourself.
Right.
You know?
Living your truth, lean in, trust your instincts. There's no blueprint to this shit.
And people will tell you that you can't do something because they can't do it, right? Or because they haven't seen anybody else do it. So, like, who am I to tell you that you can go become the biggest? I don't know that. I don't know if that's your
you're
story.
living it, so I think you have a little bit of insight into, like, something because you're doing it. So,
Fair.
you know.
So if they ask me for advice about something specific, I can help with that. But
how do I become a successful actor?
Fair. Act, man. I mean,
shit.
I feel like it's that simple. And the reason why I say that is because that's what I remember seeing, right? Like, I watched a bunch of YouTube when I was, like, figuring out if this was what I wanted to do. And I remember Matt Damon saying the best advice he ever got from somebody was them telling him not to do it. Because it's like, but I don't want to tell people not to do that.
Yeah.
But, like, that's why I'm like, I can't tell you what to do, but to do it, because my path isn't going to be your path, and your path isn't going to be Tom Cruise's path, who never took an acting class, right? But when he got signed. But it's all about what it is that you want, because I know for me, I wanted to be the best actor I could be. I didn't want to become famous. So, like, if you want to become famous, there's a different path for you there, right? You might go the social media route. You might go, like, stand in Boulevard, like, in the middle of Hollywood Boulevard and do some, I don't know, like, that's what works for you. But I think if you want to try and do the path that I did, act, create a reel, find somebody that believes in you, sends you out on auditions, and just continue to go that route. Because I wasn't expecting to become a lead on a show 2-3 years out here. Like, I was expecting to have a guest star role, and then from guest star, work my way up to a series regular, and then, you know, eventually have a career, not necessarily where people knew who I was, but, like, where I was able to, like, make money off of it and, like, be known as, like, if you call him, he's going to deliver the performance that you need, right?
Right.
And that was that was what I wanted. And it kind of got like catapulted to another space where I'm like, all right, let's readjust and go from here.
I think you're a really good actor.
Thank you.
I wonder, like, to what you're just talking about, achieving that success fairly quickly, number one, you know, all that stuff. Like, is there this like crazy pressure?
Yeah.
You know, following it up?
Yeah. I mean, and I think that goes back to what I was saying about like being strategic with the next role, right? Because I remember watching Denzel, and I watch a lot of actors, right? I remember Denzel saying like he said he got advice from Sidney Poitier where the first 4, 5, 6 films is how people are going to remember you.
Right.
And like
shapes your career.
And it shapes your career.
Yeah.
And I think for me, making sure that those first 4 or 5 projects are different than each other and like that can show my versatility as an actor is very, very important to me.
Right.
And not only versatility, but honestly, the prestige of this type of stuff that I want to work on. Like if I was to go do a guest spot on like a small network television show, I don't know if that might hurt my chances.
Right,
of
it's not elevating you from what you've done. Yeah,
yeah.
That
It's either
sense.
like they say you either get better or you either get better or get worse. You don't stay the same. So making sure every choice that I make is pointing upwards as opposed to allowing it to dip is.
Yeah,
you know.
I think that's important too. I think as you plot your career and you figure out where you're trying to go, and we all know what the dream is. I think it's important in staying focused on the dream. To your point, to understand the journey.
Yep.
And like understand the benchmarks, and you can have your win here, but you still have to keep working. And it's like, you know, it's an evolution. So I totally respect and get what you're saying. Yeah. Yo, this is it.
Yeah,
we just did it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
This was fun.
No, this was a really good conversation. Again, I just appreciate you having me on and just like having this back and forth. I feel like I was able to like really feel comfortable and like just really like talk with you about a lot of shit. You know,
well, I appreciate it. I'm new to this shit, man. Like I'm a producer first and foremost. I don't know about interviews or whatever, but it's this thing I'm trying to do. But I appreciate you with your words and what you said. Yeah. I appreciate you as a man. I appreciate our new friendship, and we'll get more drinks at the Bowery in New York as time goes on, and we'll get more drinks tonight.
Yeah.
And but I'm really excited for your future. I'm excited for what you're building. Your talent is obvious, and I'm just excited to see what you do. Not next, but 10 things from now. I'm just excited to see the journey. So, Quincy, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Why not me?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Why not me?
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.